Last night Ammo Power noticed that there was actually a fourth condition out of those three conditions that I said, but there's actually a fourth, and that fourth is actually, what if my fuel pressure gauge is wrong? It's a brand new gauge, yes, but what if that is wrong? So what I'm going to do is do a fuel pressure test on a known good vehicle. This is a 2001 Saturn. So the first thing that you want to do is look under the hood for warnings, cautions. I was looking for fuel pressure readings, hopefully, but no, usually it's evap stuff, and it's down here. It only gives you a shot of the evap routing. Also says it's a 2000 2.2 liter, and it says caution, fan blades may start at any time. So always keep your hands away from the fan blades on this kind of vehicle. Always good to read the cautions and the warnings that are sitting up here, because you don't want to get a finger chopped off. Now, one of the neat things about this vehicle is that it has a Schrader valve built in. I was looking at the fuel rail right here and looking for a Schrader valve, and sure enough, I found one right there. Ta-da! Pretty neat. So I don't have to hook up my Schrader valve, I just have to hook up my fuel pressure tester, and can start testing fuel immediately. And that's one of the good things about having Schrader valves built right in, is when you want to go test something, all you have to do is hook up your fuel pressure tester. You don't have to go through this whole entire deal of hooking up a Schrader valve as well. And just to walk you around the Saturn, they don't make these anymore. First thing you'll notice is there is a huge gap back here. They could have thrown in a much bigger engine. Look at all this space back here. You've got your exhaust downpipe that runs directly from here, so this is the exhaust side, and the intake side is over here. And I was like, well, why would they do that? And it got me thinking that, well, having the exhaust manifold in the front would probably be a better thing, because the air is flowing into the engine bay, and it will help cool down the exhaust headers if they're in the front. If the exhaust headers are in the back, you're not going to get as much air back there. So one of my thoughts is it's so wide open back here just to allow upcoming air when you drive to help cool this off. That's all I got, because there's no reason for that huge gap. It looks like her AC, I'm not exactly sure what this is. This looks like JB weld, and it's crunchy, and that's not going to hold anything. That's a really old repair there, and that's not good. I'm guessing that's JB weld on top of old brittle hose. They installed some kind of hose and then JB weld. That's not, or maybe it's rubber, I'm not sure. In either case, eventually she's going to start having an AC leak again, if she doesn't already. So this is a pretty neat system. These are actually the fuel lines. I'm not sure which one's supply and return yet, but that's pretty nice looking braided wire there. And that looks OEM. Here's your fuel connections. You need the quick disconnect tool in order to take those guys off. I imagine getting a tool in there to take it off right there at that point would be a pain in the ass. Most guys, I imagine, would be taking it off from there. Well, it looks like some kind of solenoid there. That might be an evap solenoid, evap test port. I'm not quite sure. No, that might be a fuel line there. That looks like a fuel. That looks like a fuel connector there. Let's see. And this runs up to here. Now that's going to be evap, because that goes into the intake. So this is going to be an evap system. And that's probably going to be a purge solenoid, evap solenoid. So a pretty neat looking car. It's got this separator here for what I don't know. Engine to battery compartment separator. It's kind of different. Fuse box. Let's see, to unlock, press here. Something like that. Make sure. Oh, you gotta take off this hose back here. Right there. Tiny little one. Fuel pump. 15 amp. Here's your fuse puller. We're gonna go snag this 15 amp and start the car, run the car, let the car stall. All there is to that. One of the first things that I did when my mom got this car was I went out and I got her Saturn L Series Haynes manual. Because they don't make the Saturn anymore, I implore you, if you have a vehicle get a Haynes manual. I even have a Haynes manual for my 66, 30 or so factory service manuals, but I still have the Haynes manual because these things are great. The Haynes manuals are based on a complete teardown and rebuild of the entire car, so they're pretty good, and they include a lot of wiring diagrams as well. So I looked up the specs for fuel pressure, and it should be between 50 to 60 psi. It's in section 4. Yeah, basically dead on, 50 to 60 psi. So we're going to hook up our Schrader valve. This little hose here is kind of getting in the way. This evap hose. Oh, starting to get some fuel spurting out here, so make sure I get that on tight. Have a rag handy just in case. Always a good idea whenever you're doing anything with fuel, have a fire extinguisher handy. I have one right over here. Make sure that it's current, make sure that it's rated B or C. So now we're going to put the fuel pump relay back in. And we're going to go start the car. Actually, first, I want to see, I don't even need to start the car for this, just turn it to on. So my gauge is capable of correctly measuring. It is right between 50 and 60. It's probably about 52. So I know that my fuel pressure gauge is good, and it is not in fact my pressure gauge that is the culprit on the 66. That's going to be the fuel pump. So diagnosis confirmed. That's basically all there is to testing fuel pressure on the Saturn. That's really easy. Love the Schrader valves built in. That's really cool. And it comes with a cap as well. Need to find one of these little Schrader valve caps for my car. That's all there is to it. Fuel pressure test on a Saturn. Cool.